Hello YouTube, HydreigonMaster635 here, and I got for you guys today my first upload to my channel. So of course, if you do enjoy, then make sure to hit the like button down below if you're excited for the beginning of the new channel, and also make sure to answer the question of the day, because I do want to try to be interactive with you guys, and the question of the day will always be at the beginning of every video. So as you can see, this is going to be an OU battle, and let me tell you, this was definitely a very good one. If you guys ever want a chance to battle me, my Twitter link will be down in the description along with my other social media links. You guys can follow me on there, and Twitter is where I normally take all of my battles, and I normally look for battles every day or every other day, so you should have a pretty solid chance to battle me if you would like to do so. Now, looking at my opponent's team, the biggest threats I saw going into this battle were going to be Greninja and Mega Metagross, just because they both hit extremely hard, and let's be honest, Greninja is easily the biggest threat in OU right now. So he's going to be leading off with Rotom, as I'm going to be leading off with my Thunders. I decided to go straight for the Thunderbolt. I was very close to actually going for the Hidden Power Ice, thinking that he would switch directly into his Landers, but ultimately decided to T-Bolt, thinking that it would be my better play, as I do get off a solid amount of damage on the Rotom. He is going to decide to Volt Switch into his Landers, and the only reason you would ever bring a Landers in on a Thunders is if you were Scarfed, and I was hoping that he would actually go for the U-turn, thinking that I would want to switch out, fearing the possible Stone Edge or knockoff, but he does make the aggressive play and goes straight for the knockoff. This does, however, allow me to get a free switch into my Choice Specs Keldeo. Now, even though yes, he has a Latios and the switch into Latios is very obvious, I really have no reason not to just go straight for the Scald, because if I had gone for the Icy Wind, I would have put him in a position where I would force him to switch out the following turn, which means he would be able to save his Latios for the remainder of this battle. But by going for the Scald, what I can do now is switch directly into my Metagross, and this Mega Metagross actually carries a very special move just for Latios and Latios. So he's going to decide to go straight for the Psyshock, knowing that my Keldeo is a huge threat to his team. So as he tries to switch out, I am going to Mega Evolve, and I'm going to be able to Pursuit Trap him, and in return finish him off with the Pursuit. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe Pursuit is boosted by Tough Claws, correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm going to be able to get rid of the Latios, thus getting rid of his only switch-in to my Choice Specs Keldeo. So this does, however, give him a free switch into Greninja, which, as I mentioned, is a giant threat to my team. So I'm going to decide to switch into my Clefable, just expecting him to want to go for the safe Dark Pulse. Although after he does go for the Dark Pulse, I know that a Gunk Shot will be able to finish me off. So I'm just going to decide to leave in my Clefable for Death Fodder. And on the off chance that he did manage to miss Gunk Shot, I'm actually going to decide to go for the Flamethrower, because Flamethrower is neutral damage, as where Moonblast is resisted damage. But he actually switches into his Metagross. I'm not too sure why he did this, but in the end it does really work out for me, as I'm able to get off a solid 40% on the incoming Metagross. However though, I still have use for my Clefable to switch into that Greninja later in this match, so I don't want to leave it in, and I'm going to switch directly into my Landorus. However though, because Metagross is still regular Metagross and not Mega Metagross, he does still have the Clear Body ability, which means my Intimidate is not going to activate, which means he's still going to be at his regular attack stat instead of being at -1, which means his Meteor Mash is going to do a solid chunk of damage, as he actually ends up getting the attack raise. And as he got the attack raise, I thought that he would actually be able to finish me off with another Meteor Mash. However though, there is a chance he could be carrying the Ice Punch, so I can't really switch into anything else on my team, so I decided to leave in my Landers for Death Fodder. And the fact that he switched out directly into his Rotom automatically confirmed to me that he does not have the Ice Punch, and I guess he was fearing Meteor Mash not being able to take me out, which actually puts me in a pretty good situation, because I do indeed outspeed this Rotom, and I will be able to just safely go for the U-turn on out into my Clefable, because Rotom can literally do nothing to my Clefable. And in normal situations, I would be able to use Rotom as a setup fodder, considering the fact that this Clefable does actually carry Calm Mind. but he does unfortunately have a Heatran, and my two offensive moves are Flamethrower and Moonblast. So even if I got up to +6 with Calm Mind, Heatran would still not be taking a lot of damage from Moonblast. So I'm just going to stay and just try to get off as much damage as I can on this Rotom, as it reveals to me that he has the Pain Split, which to be honest I wasn't expecting, but he does get back up to almost 50% after I hit him with the Moonblast, and then he's going to decide to Volt Switch on out of here, knowing that if it really came down to it, my Clefable would be able to beat him one-on-one. As he decides to bring in his Heatran, I do decide to go for the Soft Wall because it really would have been a waste if I went for Flamethrower or if I went for Moonblast. So ultimately going for the Soft Wall would have been my best and better play in that situation. Even if I had gone for Calm Mind, it would have gotten me nowhere because, as I mentioned, Heatran can take Clefable on even if I got up to +6. So expecting him to just want to go for the Lava Plume, I switched directly into my Keldeo, and because his Latios is gone, he has nothing to take a stabbed Choice Specs max special attack Hydro Pump. The only thing that would make this Keldeo more of a threat is if I was Modest, which I actually do have a Modest Keldeo in game that I almost route, but I thought Timid would be more beneficial to me because of the extra speed. So I'm able to easily OHKO Heatran, which I don't even think max special attack Greninja can OHKO a specially defensive Heatran, if I'm not mistaken. This does unfortunately give him a free switch into his Metagross though, so expecting him to just want to go straight for the Zen Head, but I switched directly into my own Mega Metagross because he cannot mess around with Keldeo. Keldeo is easily the biggest threat to his team in this situation, and much like Latios, I'm going to be able to Pursuit Trap this Mega Metagross as he decides to switch out. And when a Pokemon does switch out, Pursuit's damage is doubled, so I hit him with a full power Pursuit boosted by Tough Claws, and much to my surprise, I'm actually able to finish off the Mega Metagross. And again, much like earlier, he gets a free switch into this Greninja, but at this point Metagross has proven to put in enough work, and I'm going to be able to just leave it in for Death Fodder, allow me to get a free switch back into my Keldeo. And this was a little bit risky just on the off chance that he did have the extra sensory, but nowadays most Greninjas don't carry them because they do tend to carry Gunk Shot, and I know I should be able to live any one hit that he decides to go for. As I managed to take the Gunk Shot, I'm going to be able to hit him up with a Scald. I don't even have to go for Hydro Pump or Secret Sword to know that I will be able to finish off this Greninja. And at this point, his last two Pokemon are this Landorus Therian and his Rotom, and in this situation, I could have either stayed in or switched out. Either way, the outcome of the battle wouldn't have changed, because if I did leave in my Keldeo as he went for Earthquake, that would have given me a free switch into my Latias, allowing me to go for a Draco Meteor or go for a Psyshock, but he actually ends up going for the U-turn, which means on the switch in I will be able to 2-hit KO the incoming Rotom with a Choice Spec Scald. I do get the burn, however though, the burn does not matter. If you saw how much damage the Scald did, it did a solid, I want to say maybe 35%, which means another one would have indeed been able to finish him off. And after I get rid of this Rotom, the victory is basically going to be in my favor, because with his last Pokemon being Landorus, if he locks himself into Earthquake, I have my own Landorus and Latios. If he locks himself into U-turn, I have Landorus and Clefable. If he locks himself into Knockoff, I have Clefable, which can easily take it, and then I can knock him out with the Moonblast, and just, yeah, at this point it's not really a big deal of what he decides to lock himself into. However though, he does decide to go for the Stone Edge, so not wanting to risk a Scarf Stone Edge crit knocking out my Latios, I decided to switch into my Landorus just to be able to get the Intimidate off. And after this Intimidate, I'm going to be able to just leave in my own Landorus for Death Fodder, and I'm just going to speed this last portion of the battle up because it's me basically foddering off my Landorus so I can then get a free switch into either my Latios or Clefable to in return finish off this Landorus and be able to win the battle. So he ends up knocking me out with a final Stone Edge, as I'm going to be able to bring in my Latios and take the Stone Edge with relative ease and knock him out with a Psyshock, and that is going to be the 2-0 victory in my favor. So hopefully you guys did enjoy the very, very good battle, and of course if you did, then you know what to do, guys. With that being said, I hope everybody is excited for the new channel to get started. I know I am. Thank you for watching, guys. Tomorrow will be a Showdown live, because I do want to keep up the schedule of a Wi-Fi battle than a Showdown live and just kind of see how that goes. I may upload something different between one of those days or something. And just, yeah, thank you to everybody who did come over to the new channel. I hope you enjoyed the first upload, and with that being said, I'll see y'all tomorrow. So, later everybody.